Well, hello. This is the first of many video recordings of our lectures. So we're going to start with why study animal behavior. This is a PowerPoint, and I'm going to go through this very quickly and have a lot of short videos for you to watch. So the class is called Neurobiology and Behavior. It's really an animal behavior course. Neurobiology we will talk about, but very difficult. The high-end ones are very brain-related, very high-end biology background, lots of chemistry background. And so we will go through some of that for sure in the class. But I want to look at animal behavior. So the question is, why study it? This is Nico Tinbergen. He is one of three Nobel Prize winners for behavior. And this is the book he wrote, The Study of Instinct. So he defines behavior as the total movements made by the intact animal. So that is one definition back in '52. He was a biologist and an ornithologist, and ornithologists are people who study birds. He was an ethologist, which we'll talk about a little bit more on a later video, but it's somebody who studies behavior usually in the natural environment. And then again, he won his Nobel Prize for the study of instinct. You can see the book there on the bottom right. There are tons and tons of definitions you can look through. And so I just wanted to put it up there. And I'm not going to read these all, and I'm not going to hold you to any of these either. I just want to let you know that if you read through them, most of them are talking about behaviors, usually in some kind of natural conditions and with different triggers and things like that. But anyway, so behavior can be pretty complex. Why should you study behavior? This is E.O. Wilson. Dr. E.O. Wilson used to teach at Harvard, and he's won some Pulitzer Prize. He's known for a concept called sociobiology. We will talk about that toward the end of the semester. And also he is the world authority on ants. He wrote a book in 1990 that won a Pulitzer. It's the first textbook ever to win a Pulitzer. And it is big, it is thick, and it's everything you want to know about ants. But what you want to know is, you can see down there why animal behavior is one of those things that in all biology classes, at least the basic ones, often is taken out. It's the one subject nobody ever gets to. I think two reasons. One is, it doesn't have the nuts and bolts that maybe some of the others do. And those nuts and bolts oftentimes are parts of the nervous system, genetics, things we'll be talking about. But it's also it's a hard science. Behavior is difficult because it's not maybe like muscle twitches where you can measure every little thing. There's lots of interpretation. And so I'm not sure if it's people are comfortable teaching it. But the other thing that you should know is it's really tied to all other biologies. And you can see his list of neuroscience, behavioral genetics, ecology, conservation biology. So it is definitely an important topic. So let's look at some of the reasons. Hunting and fishing, for let's just say for hobbies or for collecting food. You need to know the behavior to know when to go hunting, where to look for certain organisms, and things like that. So many cultures, this is extremely important. Agricultural products. We're really talking about ranching, and if you are dealing with cows or chickens or pigs or fish, knowing their behavior is going to help you raise healthier animals, make it more efficient, make it safe, those kinds of things. So it turns out bird watching is, according to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, is a huge industry. 1/5 of all Americans are identified as bird watchers. They are not. I am one, I have to admit. I'm not as crazy as some of these people, but I've taken classes. I've gone to other countries to go bird watching. There's rare bird alerts where people will drop everything, leave their jobs to go chase a bird that's seen somewhere it's not supposed to be seen. So it is definitely something that you can do from your front porch, where I'm actually filming. I've got some bird feeders up, and I can see birds as we speak. So is a great hobby. Wildlife observation. Now these are wildlife that come to us, and raccoons and opossums. And that picture down below is a bear in, I believe that was taken in Glendora, a local neighborhood where the bears, the black bears, will come out of the mountains to use the hot tubs. And then, a little more remote, these are animals that are found in Yellowstone National Park. Up here we have an American bison. It's not a buffalo. We do not have buffalo in North America. Buffalo are found in Africa and Asia, but they're all part of the cattle family. And this is, again, American bison, and these are gray wolves that have been reintroduced into Yellowstone. And just to make sure, see if we can get this to run real quick, very short video, but why you probably should know animal behavior. And of course, it's not going to play real quickly here. There we go. So let it play. And it might be helpful to understand animal behavior. Yeah, being way too close was not smart. Lots of dumb people. Oops, that's not what I want. We want to move on here. So get out of that. Pets, you might have pets. So these are some of my pets. That's Jake, and Jake is sitting there with Phyllis. That is a desert tortoise I have in my backyard. I actually have two. And then on the bottom there is Moose, and he is my green-winged macaw. And I have two tortoises, actually, and we have a box turtle that's part of my wife's elementary class, but is now home because of COVID. And we actually have a yellow named Amazon parrot named Walter. Didn't make the picture. But. All right, and then recreation, zoos and aquariums. More than 700 million people visit them, and knowing how to house them is important. And so, people enjoy that. There we have an orca, we have a hippopotamus, and actually the scary thing is you might not recognize me, but that is actually me. Part of one of my introduction videos is I worked at the LA Zoo. That was me years ago, working with an Andean condor. And we'll talk about natural behaviors. And then making sure you design things properly, making sure tigers don't get out. That's important. And here we have a hippo, and I don't know what this guy is doing, telling him to sit. But this is actually a hippo that got loose when Florida flooded and was running around for quite a few months. And then pest control. Unfortunately, we have Norway rats and ants and cockroaches, and understanding their behavior might be able to help us control them, keep them out of our houses, and things like that. And then there's just some strange behaviors. So these are some of the things we're going to talk about. There is a mom and baby bird, and that's actually not hers, obviously. But we'll talk about why she'll do it. And then lots of people know about praying mantis, how they will mate with the male and then actually eat them. And so that's a picture there. So we'll talk about some of these behaviors. And then probably one of the more important ones is to study animal behavior is to learn more about ourselves. And so that's what we're hoping to kind of accomplish with this class. And so what's going to happen is I will stop the recording. So that is the end of the first recording.